The night before tryouts, the kitchen smelled faintly of oranges and dish soap. A pale moon hung outside the window like a slice of a soccer ball, and the humming refrigerator kept time with the nervous tap of a boy's foot on tile. Jay hunched over the table, his elbows grazing a poster of his favorite players, Boots midair, confetti frozen. He breathed out, fogging the glass of water in front of him. "I'm not ready," he muttered. "Not like them." His father, Anil, rinsed a bowl and said nothing. He set the bowl down, then picked up the glass between his big hands and held it to the light. "What do you see?" he asked. Jai sighed. "Half empty." Anil turned on the faucet. Water pattered, bright and musical, into the cup. He let it rise to the halfway mark and shut it off. "All right," he said, smiling slightly. "What about now?" Jai frowned. "Still half empty," he insisted. "It's halfway to nothing." "Watch," Anil said. He tilted the glass and poured a little out, then set it down again at that same halfway line. "Half empty now?" "Yes," Jai said, confused. Anil turned the faucet back on, adding water until the mark returned to halfway once more. "And now?" Jai rolled his eyes. "Half empty, Dad." Anil crouched until his eyes were level with his son's. "Do you know what my grandmother used to say? The glass tells a different story depending on what your hands are doing. If you are filling, it's half full. If you are drinking, it's half empty." He curled Jai's fingers around the cool glass. "It isn't just a trick. It's about direction." "Which way are you moving?" "I don't know which way I'm moving," Jai whispered. "I learned to dribble last year. Yesterday I missed 10 shots." Anil nodded as if he expected that answer. "We'll find out," he said. "And we'll measure it so there's no mystery. Starting tomorrow, we'll keep a water book for your soccer. When you add a skill, when you practice, when you push yourself even a little, that's pouring. Half full. If you skip, if you give up on a drill you can do, that's drinking. Half empty. Your job is not to be like those stars on the poster. Your job is to pour." The next day, the sunlight arrived in streaks, and tiny birds skittered along the fence like boys warming up. Jai's cleats pinched his heels. He had chosen them a size too small because the top scorer at school wore a snug pair. The field smelled like cut grass and rain, and sprinklers hissed tiny rainbows that caught in his eyelashes. He watched taller kids bending and stretching, whole teams of confidence. Coach Mara blew her whistle and the air sharpened. "Ball control," she called. "Cones to the penalty spot and back. Keep your eyes up." Jai dribbled and lost the ball on the third cone. He turned to see who noticed. The boy with the snug cleats flicked the ball behind both legs like magic. Jai's cheeks burned. He jogged to the end of the line, hearing his father's gentle voice in his head, "Your job is to pour." So he tried again. And again. Each time he reached the fourth cone before the ball got away, a little more than before. When practice ended, his socks were damp, his knees dotted with grass kisses, and the sky unfurled a silk scarf of pink. Anil met him by the bleachers with a smile, a pen, and a small notebook the color of ocean glass. Water book, he said, writing the date at the top. He drew a tall rectangle and a halfway line across it. Tell me, did you pour today? Jai hesitated. I missed a lot. Did you show up? Yes. Did you try new footwork and get one cone farther than yesterday? Yes, Jai said, a small warmth stirring in his chest. Anil shaded the glass on the page, coloring from the bottom up until the level was just above halfway. Half full, he said. And rising. That night the moon leaned closer, cunning as a coach. Jai taped the notebook open to his wall and fell asleep, imagining drops of water ticking like a metronome into a glass. Spring lengthened, and the city's trees tossed petals like confetti for no one in particular. In the afternoons, Jai and his father transformed the empty parking lot behind the apartment into a training ground. Anil, who was a carpenter by day, built small wooden goals and painted them a cheering yellow. They lined glowing cones in zigzags and practiced toe taps and rollovers, passes and receiving. On weekends, his mother joined them with a speaker that chirped upbeat songs, and sometimes neighbors leaned over the balcony railings to applaud a trick. Jai complained often. They can curl the ball into the top corner and I can't, he groaned one evening, falling onto the warm concrete. Anil sat beside him, setting 2 cups on the ground between them. One empty, one with a little water. What are you doing right now? Complaining, Jai muttered. And before that? Practicing. Which is pouring. Which makes it half full, Jai admitted. Anil filled the cup to the halfway mark and slid it toward him. To the pourers, he said, clinking his empty cup to it, and Jai's laugh hopped over the lot like a skipped stone. Sometimes, when homework piled high and his legs felt like sandbags, Jai drank more than he poured. He skipped a drill. He scrolled videos of flawless highlights and forgot to set out his clothes for morning practice. The next day, he stumbled and hesitated. That night, the water book would show the line drop, and Anil would nod gravely and say, half empty today. We can feel it. That's the signal. Time tout pour tomorrow. And like a small lighthouse turning, it would usher him back. On a breezy afternoon in late summer, Coach Mara announced an exhibition match between neighborhoods. A chance to try new positions, she said. A chance to make mistakes. Kai's stomach rolled. Mistakes were public. He pulled at his jersey until it looked like a wrinkled ocean and took his place on the bench. He watched the others dart, the ball alive under their feet. I'll mess it up, he told his father, who had found a seat in the front row, a thermos of tea steaming in his hands. Remember, Anil said, stars aren't born with their boots on. They learn by pouring a little day after day. When Coach called his name, Jai's hands went cold. He jogged onto the field and planted himself in midfield. The first pass bounced off his shin like a bored frog. He winced. The second he trapped and sent sideways but too soft, and the other team snatched it. Then something shifted. He looked up as he dribbled, the way Coach insisted, seeing space like windows popping open in a high building. He found his teammate sprinting and threaded a pass between defenders. The teammate scored, and for a heartbeat everything went quiet like a camera shutter closing. Then cheers rippled, coach's whistle trilled, and Jai's feet felt light. After the game, a boy with snug cleats bumped his shoulder in a friendly way. "Nice assist," he said and jogged away. Jai floated home giddy until he looked again at his poster of the pros. Their eyes were fierce, their captions bold. "One assist isn't enough," he muttered. The glass in his mind began to drain. Anil found him glum, tracing the rim of his water cup with a finger. "Talk to me," he said. "I'll never be them." "You're not supposed to be," Anil said, pulling up a chair. "Jai, listen. Comparison is a leaky cup. You can pour and you won't fill if you're pouring into someone else's glass. What do we say is your job?" "To pour," Jai said reluctantly. "To pourrir. Into my own glass," he conceded. That night there was thunder. The storm thumped and grumbled and rolled down the block like a fractious giant. Jai woke to a faint blue glow and found his father in the living room, setting up something curious. He had a jar the size of a drum, water halfway up, and floating on the surface was a little paper boat, folded with crisp care. The boat had a number written on it in blue marker 10. "What's that?" Jai asked, yawning. Anil beckoned him closer. "Every 2 weeks, we're going to mark how many hours you've poured into training. That's 10. 10 hours floating. See." He lifted a small watering can and tipped a trickle into the jar. The boat rose just a whisper. Every hour the boat rises. You won't notice a centimeter at a time. But after a season, you'll be surprised where it sails. Jai watched the tiny boat bob through the lamplight, shadows playing walls and ceiling, a little world in a glass globe. He touched the cool side of the jar and imagined himself inside, a sailor on a rising sea of tries. The thunder softened and wandered away. He fell asleep on the couch, the sound of drops like a lullaby. Autumn arrived carrying golden leaves by the pocketful. The field wore a patchwork of sun and shade, and the air smelled like apples and afternoon. Jai's water book thickened with pages, each inked glass climbing slightly higher. Some days he learned to shield the ball. Others he mastered planting his non-kicking foot correctly. He failed at a rainbow flick so many times he started laughing as he fell. After laughter came one improbable success in the quiet hour when the leaves were too tired to rustle. The ball lifted, rolled over his heel, and popped behind him like a little miracle. He hooped, startling a squirrel into philosophical doubt. "See," Anil called from the sideline, grinning. "Half full and rising. What if it drops?" Jai called back. "Then we pour," Anil said simply. One Saturday, an older team came to scrimmage and they played like storms, fast, loud, swirling. Jai's team lost badly, 3-0. On the walk home, the air was a damp sweater. Jai dragged his feet through puddles and splashed his socks. "We got crushed," he murmured. Anil tapped his shoulder. "The score is a picture. Your effort is a story," he said. "Tell me the story of your day." Jai squinted. He wanted to say it was terrible and leave it at that. But he thought of the pass he had blocked with his thigh, the time he had backtracked to help defense, the way he had noticed his teammates run a second sooner. He told those parts too. Anil listened as if each word was an ingredient for a favorite soup. When they got home, instead of sulking, Jai drew his glass and colored it to the halfway mark. Half full, he said, surprised to hear his own voice declare it. Win. Ter crept in quietly, sock-footed. The field went hard as a cookie and the air bit their noses. Anil took Jai to the community center, where a coach set up a winter futsal league in a gym that smelled of rubber and dreams. Futsal, with its zippy, squished ball, taught Jai to think faster, touch softer, trust himself to turn. He loved the hollow pop of the ball against the wall, loved the way his shoes skated and squeaked. He loved, most of all, the way his father clapped for craft rather than fireworks. One evening, a week before their winter championship, his classmate Devin sent a message: a famous academy is coming to scout summer players at the spring tournament. Jai's heart tumbled. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling where the light from passing cars made brief rivers. I'll never make that level, he whispered, feeling the familiar tug toward emptiness. He heard a soft knock and the door opened a crack. Anil's head appeared. Are you emptying? He asked gently. I think I am. Come, Anil said. Let me show you something. He led Jai to the small workshop where he kept his tools. At the back was a cabinet they rarely opened. Anil pulled out a dusty wooden box and placed it on the workbench. When he lifted the lid, Jai's eyes widened. Inside lay a gleaming bronze medallion, a faded photo of a young Anil in a bright running jersey, and a newspaper clipping with a headline that mentioned a qualifying race. I used to run, Anil said softly. Distance. State finals once. Jai's mouth opened. You were fast. Anil laughed. Fast enough. I wanted to be the fastest. In my final season, I chased a boy named Hector who broke records for breakfast. I watched videos of his stride, copied his form, bought his shoes. I kept pouring into his glass, you see? Then I started to get injured. I got angry. I drank skipped warm-ups, scoffed at small improvements. My glass emptied, and when it was most empty, I called my efforts meaningless. He touched the medallion. It took me years to learn that the glass doesn't care how full someone else's is. Cares which way your hands move. But you stopped, Jai said carefully. I stopped chasing Hector, Anil corrected. Eventually, I ran for the joy of feeling the ground push back. I didn't get another medal. But I learned something worth more. Now it's yours. He closed the box gently. You are 1 year into soccer. 1 year. From scratch. Can you see what you poured? Jai felt something loosen in his chest. Yes, he said. I can. Spring returned like music returning to a pause song. The first match of the new season unfolded under a sky so blue it felt painted. Crowd was bigger than usual, and whispers traveled along the sidelines the way wind travels through wheat. Gouts, someone hissed. Jai tried not to listen. He laced and relaced his boots, breathed in the buttery smell of the leather, and whispered pour to his own hands. From kickoff, the game moved like a riddle. The other team pressed high. Jai struggled to find space, got bumped off the ball, stumbled once. Midway through the first half, he saw his teammates sprinting up the wing. He toggled the ball right, feinted left, and slipped a through pass so clean it sounded like a slice of paper. The winger crossed. Their striker thundered it into the net. Crowd uncurled a cheer and Jai's heart hammered joyfully. At halftime, he slumped on the bench, a vein of fear still whispering, "You didn't score. You didn't bend it like they do." Anil came over with his bottle and sat without speaking. He took 2 slow sips and said, as if remarking on the weather, "You know the moon's half showing tonight. From our place in the stands, it will look half full as the night rises." Jai smiled despite himself. Half full because the night is pouring in. Anil bumped his shoulder. Exactly. The second half was a storm. They conceded a goal. Another. Coach rearranged them like furniture. Jai found himself at defensive mid, a position he rarely played. He felt lost for a heartbeat, then thought of futsal, of tiny spaces and swift turns. He watched the field like a hawk atop a telephone pole, a soft body ready. When the other team's midfielder drove toward the top of the box, Jai broke the run with a clean tackle, took 2 quick touches and launched a pass that split the field open. His winger caught it near the corner and crossed. A header, a net ripple, a roar. Hitters rose like weed again. Jai heard someone clap near the end of the bench, a crisp, deliberate clap that carried. He glanced over and saw a woman in a navy jacket, a clipboard under her arm, her gaze kindly bright. It occurred to him that he might be seen. That being seen would never be about becoming someone else, but about becoming entirely himself. The match ended in a tie, which felt like both victory and homework. Jai jogged over to his father, arms longing for an embrace that smelled like sawdust and tea. Anil held him, and Jai felt the steady beat of his father's heart, a familiar metronome. "Half full," Anil murmured. "You poured so much today." That night, the little paper boat in the jar floated higher than it ever had. They wrote 110 on a new boat and set the old one beside his medal. The apartment felt like the inside of a storybook, with its pages turned by wind from an open window, and the city sang its tired, contented song below. Weeks widened into months. Jai learned to love warm-ups, to drink water as if it were courage, to tie his laces with a small, fierce bow. He began coaching neighborhood kids in the lot, showing them the way a flick of the ankle could change everything, the way kindness could make a scrimmage more beautiful than a win. He brought his water book and, after practice, let each kid shade a rectangle up to show what they'd poured. Their laughter filled the evening like fireflies. One of those kids, a tiny girl named Poppy with a stubborn ponytail, missed and missed and missed an easy shot and threw her hands up. "I'm bad at this," she cried. Jai crouched to meet her eyes. "Are you pouring or drinking right now?" he asked. She blinked, then grinned slowly. "Pouring. Then what is it?" "Half full," she said, and she tried again, and the ball kissed the net. Near the end of the year, their team reached a local final. The sky wore its best blue shirt, and the parents carried banners on sticks that knocked and tapped with friendly rhythm. On the way to the stadium, their bus broke down. They exhaled a sigh worthy of a dragon and refused to move. Coach Mara paced. The boys buzzed like a hive. Anil parked his car, jogged from home, and stood before Coach, breathless and earnest. "We can walk," he said, looking at the map. It'll take 20 minutes. We'll make it if we treat it like a warm-up. Pouring starts now. So they walked. They jogged in place at lights. They sang a chant where each boy's name was a toast. When they reached the fields, pink-faced and laughing, they were not late. They were ready. Jai felt the hum of something bigger than a game, something like belonging. The game cracked open early. The opponent struck first, a rocket from distance that trembled in the net like a trapped bee. Jai shook off the sting and played the simple pass. Pass that built a move, that built a chance, that built belief. Midway through the second half, he saw space bloom and sent a diagonal ball into it, and the diagonal turned into an arc, and the arc curved its own story right onto his teammate's foot. Goal. The noise from the stands made his ribs rattle. 2 minutes later, he intercepted a pass, took a touch, lifted his chin and chipped a delicate ball over the back line for the runner. Another goal. Another roar. They won 2-1. After the final whistle, Jai dropped to the grass and pressed his palms to it, feeling the earth behind everything, ancient and patient. Anil reached him and pulled him up, then, unexpectedly, pressed something small into his hand. It was the bronze medallion from the wooden box, warm from Anil's pocket. You should keep this, Anil said. Jai protested, it's yours. Mine, yes, Anil said. But now it's our story. I ran and learned. You pour and teach. We are one family with 2 glasses and the same water. On the way home, either because of joy or right timing, the city fountains all seemed to be turned on. They arced and glittered, and the little ones ran beneath them shrieking with happiness. The moon was indeed half showing. Jai took his water book from his backpack and handed it to his father. 1 year, he said. From scratch. Anil flipped to the first page, the shaky rectangles, the sparse shading, and then to the last page where a solid blue climbed nearly to the brim. He whistled softly. More than half full, he said. Jai nodded. Sometimes still half empty when I stop pouring. But I know the difference now. Bedtime, Jai set the medallion on his windowsill and the little paper boat beneath it, now marked 150. He stared at the ceiling, remembering the first time the ball obeyed his wish, the first time the field felt like a map he could read. He knew there would be harder games, losses that would sting, days when life would make him set soccer aside to fix something more important. But now he had a compass that could not be broken by anyone else's weather. Anil came in, his steps soft as bedtime stories. He handed Jai a glass of water and sat on the edge of the bed. What do you see? He asked, the old ritual sparkling like a coin in a fountain. Jai lifted the glass. The water line glowed a little in the light from the hall. He tilted it, letting it whisper against the rim. Half full, he said, smiling. And why? Because tomorrow, Jai answered, I'll pour. They sat for a while and watched the moon move. In its slow, grand way, it filled the sky with quiet light, like a glass that understands its purpose. Somewhere a bus rolled, a dog barked once, and in the stillness, an entire year gathered itself into a story that felt as tall as the goalposts and as close as a father's hand on his son's hair. When sleep came, it came with soft steps, carrying small faces from the lot and bright flags from the final and the glint of a paper boat floating upstream. Jai dreamed he was tiny and walking along the rim of a giant glass. Every step he took spilled one more drop inside, and the glass rose so gently he didn't notice, and then, a little while later, he could see his reflection in it smiling. Moral of the story: whether a glass is half empty or half full depends on which way you're moving, drinking or pouring. In life, focus on your direction. If your efforts are adding, be optimistic and keep going. If your habits are draining you, that's your signal to change and refill. Don't compare your glass to someone else's. Compare it to yesterday's and keep pouring into your own.